सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। Shri Krishna Arpanastu. Okay, so we are on chapter 3, right? And the situation is going on right now where Arjun asks, why should I do action when Gyan will give me, liberation? So why are you asking me to do action? So Krishna Bhagavan was asking him to go and, fight. That's an action. So Arjun is confused and he is asking, why should I do action where knowledge can give me the liberation? So let me just get the knowledge and be done with it. Why do I have to go through this hard work of action? So Krishna Bhagavan gave 2-3 things before. We already reached to slok number 7, but just to give you a couple lines from previous conversation of Krishna Bhagavan, he says that first of all, both paths are important, right? Which stage of spirituality are you in? It depends on which path to take. If you already purified your mind, you can go to the Jnana Yoga. But you haven't purified your mind, then you have to come to Karma Yoga, which is action, right? So he mentioned that. Then he said that nobody can stay without action. Action is going to be there always. Like we are made up of these 3 gunas that came out of Prakriti. Prakriti means nature, and nature is always in action. So there is no way you cannot be in action. You have to be in action all the time, right? And then he also mentioned in I think 6th slok that we just did before last week was that if somebody says that if their mind is not purified, but they said, hey, that's okay, my mind is not purified, let me jump onto the Gyan, I will go get the knowledge, then what's going to happen is they will, outer senses, they will shut down, but what's going to happen inside? It's going to be still thinking about the worldly things, worldly desire, because the desires are already there. They haven't purified it yet, right? So when at this time, at what we are studying, right? We are getting Jnana Yoga, we are knowing about Karma Yoga, we are studying Gita right now, right? So if I say that why to study Gita, we already know that self is consciousness. Let's go with it and let's live our life and forget about all this karma, right? So what's going to happen to us at this time if we jump? Because Arjun and we are going parallel, right? We both are at the same path. So like what Arjun thought, we can think it too. Like why do we have to do action? Why do we have to go to school? And why do I have to clean the house? Why do I have to make food? Or why do we have to do things, right? We can directly go to the Jnana Yoga, take samadhi, start doing meditation, and that's it. That's the ultimate goal of life. Let's skip all the college, all the school pressure to become earn some money. Forget about all that. Let's get to the ultimate goal, right? We all will think that way. So to think that way, what happens is we have to devote ourselves to God. Now, can any one of us devote ourselves to God at this time without thinking about anything else? No. Right? So we already did that experiment. For 1 minute, if we close our eyes and sit down with our closed eyes and we think like, okay, for 1 minute I will not think about anything else, I will just think about God, just for 1 minute. What happened? The thoughts, we did not wanted the thought other than God's thought to come, but still it came, right? That already shows that our mind is not purified. So that's the same thing happens with Arjun. His mind is not purified. So first he has to purify the mind, then we can move on. We cannot move on without purified mind, right? So in 6th slok, Krishna Bhagavan already said that people who outwardly shut them down, like how Arjun is thinking, let me go straight to the Jnana Yoga and not worry about the karma. So if people think that way and they go directly to Gyan, what happens to them? Their internal, the inner self will still be worldly, still be thinking about world. Outer senses, they will shut it down, they will close their eyes, go to a secluded place, nobody, no seeing, no talking to anybody. They can do that, but what's going to happen is mind, the thought will not stop. Right? So those are, God described it as hypocrite people, right? So that's how it's going to be like. So Krishna Bhagavan is saying you don't have to be hypocrite. Now when we moved on to the second, so on contrary, now 7th slok we already read last time, right? But I haven't described it. Is that what happened? Okay. So we will read it again and we will start the 7th verse again. Okay. So guys, open your book to chapter 3, slok 7. You guys got it? Okay. Sean, you want to do it?
Yasta indriyani manasa.
Okay, Sean. Slow and loud. Okay.
Yasta indriyani manasa.
Yastvendriyani manasa
Niyam yarabaterjuna.
Niyam yarabaterjuna
Karmendriye karma yogam.
Karmendriye karma yogam
Asakta savishishyate.
Asakta savishishyate.
Let's do together. Yastvendriyani manasa niyam yavaterjuna karmendriye karma yoga asakta savishishyate. So on the contrary of the people that Krishna Bhagavan described in previous slok, which was hypocrite people, right? So on the contrary, there are 4 things he mentioned here. On the contrary, the person who controls, first thing, control the organs with mind, right? So controls the organ with mind. Second time is who do karma yoga, who perform karma yoga. Hey Avika, perform karma yoga. Third, being unattached. Okay, 3 things. I will do it, not 4. Okay, the person on the contrary. So the person who directly jumped to the Jnana Yoga, right? Who is not have a purified mind, right? On the contrary of that person, the person who purifies the mind through this. So how does he do is control all the organs, action of the organs. Control action of the organs with mind. So all the organs controlled by mind. Now I will explain you little by little, okay? Let's get that first thing, the definition together. Control action of organs with mind. Perform the karma yoga, being unattached, are superior, than the hypocrite people. Are superior and they will excel in spirituality, right? So that's what Krishna Bhagavan says in this thing. Now let's take the first point. Control organs with the mind. Control the actions of organs with the mind. Now what he is talking about, external organs and internal organs. Now external organs were controlled by the other person too, because he is shutting down. External organs are always think about those things, the senses, the things that are in contact with the world, right? So all the five senses, also legs, hands, that you are walking and interacting with the outside world. So that's the outer organs that are. Now inner instrument that God has given us, right? So like mind, intellect, right? The decision making power, the thoughts and all those things, and that's our internal organ, right? Now just to let you know that mind, everything has definition. So there is one internal organ, that is mind, right? Mind is an instrument for us. So God in this specific thing is saying controlled by mind, right? So we need to understand what is mind first, right? So there are four things that internal organ is described in Gita, in Vedanta, in Sanskrit language. So it is mind, man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. So I will write in Hindi as well as in Sanskrit as well as in English. Man is mind, right? So man, mind is one internal. Then buddhi. What is buddhi? What would be buddhi?
Intellect.
Intellect.
How do you spell mun?
M-A-A-N. Yeah, man. That's how they spell it. And then mana, buddhi, chitta. Chit is memory. Then ahankar. That is ego. Right? These are the four internal organs that that actually does work with us. Like the actions that are performed through these ones, right? So now man is various thought, mind is various thought that keep coming, right? So these are thoughts that keep coming, right? This is your intellect, myth, decision making department. And you make decision with this, right? So if you think about a math problem, right, until you don't understand, until you don't get the solution, it comes, you will think lot of thoughts comes, okay, it could be resolved by this, it could be resolved by this. As soon as you get the knowledge, then what happened? Then the math problem is solved. So until it's not solved, until you don't know, it is man, it's rotating the man. As soon as it's solved, it comes to intellect, it comes to buddhi, and it's solved, right? So that's the difference. The thought's going to keep coming in man, but as soon as you get the knowledge, right, it becomes an intellect. So when you get the knowledge, you get the clarity, it becomes intellect when the decision making is done, right? So remember the difference between man and buddhi, right? So then chitta, that is memory, that comes from our past experience, right? So these are all past experience things that we have. Now ahankara is ego. Now it's not the same ego that we always say, oh, this guy has a lot of ego, right? That's a different thing, right? The ego is that ego is like, oh, he has he's very arrogant and he thinks about himself a lot. We are not talking about that ego. Here, ego is the little I that we kept talking about it, right? This is the coordinator of all the other organs. This coordinates it, right? So this is a coordinator of all the actions you do. You get the pain, right? Something get hurt. Then what happened? The message is sent to your nervous system, to the brain. Brain thinks, oh, okay, I got hurt, I am in pain. That message is sent back to the skin and you start feeling like there is a pain there, right? So that eye coordinates all the actions in your body. So that little eye that we think, this body, mind, intellect, that is the eye, that is the ego here. That is the ahankar here, right? It is described as that, right? So just to get you a knowledge about how, when we talk about the internal organs, internal instrument that God gave us, we're going to talk about these 4 internal organs that God gave us. Now, the person who already differentiate between little eye and big eye. You remember we talk about this a lot in our classes before. The little eye is this body, mind, and intellect set, right? The big eye is this consciousness that we talk about, right? We are not talking about this body, mind, or anything. That's a bigger eye, right? The person who knows the difference between little and big eye doesn't have to go through all this. They already differentiated it, right? So they don't have to worry about anything of this. But as we, you and me and everybody cannot differentiate between these two, we have to go through Karma Yoga, which gonna be, here God is saying, control the actions of the organ with your mind. Now why he's saying mind, he's not saying about intellect, memory, or ahankar. He's saying control it with your mind, right? So mind is what? Yes.
It's like kind of like the thing that makes you do the decision, like the bad decision. So if you control that, then you control like the root of your problems.
Yeah, so what you control is the
Mind.
thoughts, mind, right? You can say that, hey, you have to control your thoughts. So what God is saying, control action of your organ with your thoughts, right? When you control your thoughts, everything will fall together, right? That's the first thing that he is explaining in this shloka. Control the organ with your mind, right? That's happened. Now you can, oh, I'm on diet, I want to eat healthy, right? But then there is a delicious cookie in front of me which I love so much. Now the truth is that I am on diet, and another truth is there that I want to eat that cookie. Isn't that both truth?
Yes.
Right? They both are true. I want to eat the cookie, but I'm on diet, I cannot eat it. So both are true. Now, when both are true, how do you control your organ, your actions? By the mind, right? So your thought, hey, which is going to be good for me, right? Is it eating cookie is good for me, or not eating cookie is good for you? So the decision making come out of these mind, and that's where he's saying to control your actions of organ with your mind, right? You got the differentiate. How can you control it? Right? With your mind, with your thoughts. So that's what he is mentioning here. Now, where to withdraw your, the things that you want, the undesirable things, getting away from them and getting the desirable thing and doing the desirable things. That's where, when you start making your control, your organs of actions of your organs, that's when you are ready to get into the, start with the Karma Yoga. And that's where the person can move on. And that person is superior to the person who is just getting and is a hypocrite person, right? So that's what he is explaining in contrast to that one. Now he mentioned perform the Karma Yoga, right? Now there is a big thing to think about it. Let me clear this up so I can show you something else. You remember we talk about in, I think, 5th shlok, God says that the guna that we have, right? The 3 gunas are born from Prakriti, from nature, right? So the action belongs to these guna. We do action according to the guna. So action belongs to guna. Guna belongs to?
Nature. Right? Oh,
Yes.
They're from nature, right?
Yeah, so it belongs to nature, right?
Yeah.
Nature means prakriti.
Yeah.
Right? So now look at that. Action belongs to guna. Guna belongs to prakriti. What happened? Therefore,
Action
belongs to
nature.
nature.
Prakriti.
Prakriti.
Math.
Right? This is a math problem here, right? We got the ultimately what action belongs to nature or prakriti. So when action belongs to the nature, right? Whatever action we go, it belongs to the nature. Then results belong to who?
No.
The results belong to nature.
To nature too, right? Because action belongs to nature, what would result belong to?
Nature.
Nature.
Because result is part of
Richardson
action.
is part of action, right? Result depends on action. So therefore, results belongs to nature. Does action and nature belong to I, little I, ego? Does that belong to little I, ego?
Action, nature.
No.
No.
It belongs to the nature. It doesn't belong to us. Does it belong to the consciousness, the real self I? No. What does I belong to? The capital I am talking to. No, it belongs
doesn't belong to. It belongs to like
God.
God, yeah.
Right?
It doesn't belong to anyone.
So action and result belong to nature. I, that consciousness, belongs to
God. So you don't get anything.
So now action, any action do you do, does it belong to you?
No.
It's just Prakriti gave us the guna, we gave the action back to Prakriti. It's giving and taking thing, right? Our gunas, that is tamasic, rajasic and sattvic guna that we have, that we are made up of, that produces action. They came from where? They came from nature, right? So any action that we do using these three gunas, what happen is they go to Prakriti back. We are giving them back. When action belongs to Prakriti, then result belongs to Prakriti too, right? So keep that in mind. It's not in the shlok, but I'm just saying it's just to give it, because we are talking about work belongs to who, then we are talking about this thing that whatever work we do, whatever action we do, whatever result it comes, they don't belong to the real self, the capital I. It doesn't belong to that, right? Now, when we say nature, Prakriti, we can also say sansara. The word can be replaced by any of these words. Sansara, right? So again it says action belongs to sansara, then results belong to sansara, Prakriti, like the world, right? It doesn't belong to my real consciousness. It doesn't belong to that, right? So think about it. Now, when we can see, like, so how should we do action? What kind of action we should do? Let's see that part. What action we should be doing? Now, if you look at karma, hold on, let me give you another way to understand this. So we talk about karma yoga. In this second point, God says that by performing karma yoga, right? So karma and yoga. Karma and yoga. Two different ways to see it. Karma is for world. The karma part, we are doing action. So right now we say that action belongs to the Prakriti, right? The world, the samsara. So karma is for the world, right? If we talk about good karma, it will be for serving for world, right? So karma, any karma that you do has to be serving for world or to world. What is yoga? Yoga is for ourself. Now when I talk about self, remember it is the bigger I. Self, right? Self, this anything that is done here is for self also, which means that I want enlightenment, I want liberation, I want freedom. So I will do this for self. So yoga part is for self, the karma part is for the world, right? Now when I say that I do karma for myself, then this karma doesn't work right way. It is for serving to the world, for others, right? So think about that in these two ways, how it is being explained, right? So karma, we do all the actions for others. Yoga means doing all the things that will enlighten us. So development of our self, right? That's yoga, right? So think about that one. Now when we do for the world, so karma, we cannot claim anything out of it. So when I talk about the result, we cannot claim anything out of this. That's not mine, because it is for
It's
for nature. So it's not, I cannot claim it, right? This one, I have to claim it, because this is development for myself, right? Claim.
Claim.
Yeah, claim to myself. And this doesn't claim to me, because this is the action I have to do for others, right? Yoga I have to do for myself. It's saying we are running out of time, right? So you got that? So we cannot do that for this. Now when we are giving back the karma, we are giving back to nature. There are two types of the things that you have to think about the karma. One is kartavya karma. Kartavya karma means the thing, your own duty, your self duty. So kartavya karma, I would say that what is in front of you. So as the kids, in front of you, what karma you have? What is your kartavya? What is your duty?
To learn.
To learn. What else?
Um,
Don't just be one kartavya.
Do chores.
Listen to your parents.
Listen to your parents. Do chores, right? Which you don't do it, but listen to your parents. For my kartavya karma, we can say that, responsibility of kids, right? To make sure to give them right vidya, right buddhi, right? Or to feed them, to develop them, right? To nourish them. So that's my duty. So kartavya karma is the karma that everybody should be doing it, right? That's their duty, right? Krishna Bhagavan is always keep on saying that you have to do your duty. So as you have to make sure you don't stop learning, right? Then it is, the second thing is your parents give you some work to do, you should be listening to your parents. That's your kartavya karma. You cannot skip out of that part, right? The next karma is the one that you do to serve the welfare of others, right? So welfare of others. One is your duty that is in front of you. Right now you have to do it, right? The other one is welfare of the others. Those are the two karmas that God has explained in Gita that you should be doing. Two actions that you should be taking. So think about that.
What does that say?
The first one is duty, your own duty that is in front of you. The second one is welfare for others. Help others, right? So to summarize the whole shlok, the 7 words, what God is saying, that the person, Arjun, so he's saying, oh Arjun, the person who controls action of his organ with his mind, right? By performing karma yoga with unattached, who is unattached to action or result of the action, always is superior to anybody else, right? So again, it was very symbolized that how you can control your actions through your mind and then do karma yoga, and then you be unattached to action and result, because actions, work and result both don't belong to us, they belong to Prakriti. So we have to be unattached to those. That person is superior person. So he explained both sides of it, right? The person who doesn't do it right way and the person who does the right way. So he gave the answer, how can we do the right way, the karma, so that we can purify our mind, right? So that's how he explained it. Now, in this shloka, I actually wanted to tell you that he mentioned Arjun, and what is the meaning of Arjun? Arjun means pure, the purified, pure, Shuddha person. Shuddha is the Hindi word, like very pure person, right? So Arjun meaning is the clean, right? That's what we are learning here, right? The clean, the purity of mind. His name means purity of mind. That's what we are learning here. So just wanted to throw that in the shlok when we are reading about purity of our mind, man. Okay, let's move on to the next shlok. We will take shlok number 8. You ready, guys? Good? Okay.
Niyatam kuru karma tvam.
Niyatam kuru karma tvam.
Karma jaya hya karmana.
Karma jyayo hyakarmana.
Sharira yatra pichete.
Sharira yatra pichate.
Na prasidyeda karmane.
Na prasidyeda karmane. Together. Niyatam kuru karma tvam. Karma jyayo hyakarmana. Sharira yatra pichate. Na prasidyeda karmana. Okay. So now here it says, so Krishna Bhagavan advised here, right? Giving an advice saying that take care of the duty that is given to you. Again, we already mentioned that, but he is saying that take care of the duty that is already mentioned to you. Working is better than no work. So here is the big thing that he is talking about, and we all need to understand this, especially kids who are watching TikTok all day long and not moving from their bed. You know whom I'm talking about? These two guys here sitting here, right? So this is very important. Action, any kind of action, is better than no action, right? Doing no action, it is better to do some kind of action, right? Now, I know Krish will say me that watching TikTok is an action, which I feel like it's not an action. It's just sitting and lazily sitting in the bed. Now, you know what it is. Like, first of all, you need to understand what kind of actions are there, right? So there are many kind of actions we say about it. Now, many kind means, I will say there are 3 kind of action. Let's start with 2 so you can explain it. One is sakama karma. Sakama karma. What is this action? This is action with desire, right? Any action that we do with desire. The action with desire is sakama karma, right? So in this action, we do any kind of action that has a desire connected to it. Okay, I'm going to do a favor to my brother so that he can give me his iPad to play, right? or let me do something for my mom so in return she can give me goodies, or let me do these let me finish some chore so that my mom will let me eat candies or cookies, or you know how mom also treats you something like that, that if you do this I will give you this, right? This thing happens when mom and dad says, if you finish this chore I will give you some money. So all those karma means all those action comes in sakama karma. There is some desire, that's why I'm doing it, right? Definitely you can give, like you are doing all the homework because you want to get some good grades. That's sakama karma, right? You want grades, that's why you are doing action. There is some desire. Krishu band ho gaya beta. Okay, just gonna give another minute. Okay, so with desire, that gives you pleasure, that gives you some kind of satisfaction, that gives you some kind of monetary benefit. All those things are sakama karma. Then the second one is nishkama karma. So there is nothing that benefits you. There is no desire. So it is action without desire. When I write with, I put C and hyphen on the top. Just that's the way it is, a short form of with. I don't know if you guys learned that, but in school.
With is a W and then a slash. That's the short form.
But in our time it was C and this thing. So what is it? W?
W and then a slash.
Cut it?
Yeah.
On the middle?
No. Like next to it. Like a W and then a slash.
On the head of W or on
next to it? Like
to it?
basically
like
next.
This?
Yeah.
And then if I have to do without, then just put O here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah, that's what that.
Action with desire and action without desire. So there is no actions without desire. Now, when God is saying that any action is better than no action, so I put no action on the top. There is no action. You don't want to do any action. You just want to be lazy and sleeping on the bed, laying down on the bed all the time. That's no action, right? So no action. Sakama action, sakama karma is better than no action. God is saying, even if you do action with your personal desire, that is better than doing nothing. Right? So he is saying that no action is better than sakama karma. Sakama karma is better than no action. Nishkama karma is better than sakama karma. Doing action without any personal desire is better than action with desire, right? So we can say that. But he's saying that even if you do sakama karma, that is better than just not doing any action, right? So he actually emphasizes so much on doing any kind of action. Now I will say that, what 3 gunas we have? It is tamasic, rajasic and sattvic. We always say that we have to be sattvic. We should be doing more sattvic karma because we should have more sattvic guna, and that's better, right? But Krishna Bhagavan is saying that even rajasic is better than just doing tamasic karma, right? So rajasic is even better if you just, even better than the tamasic, right? Sattvic is the best, but even if you don't have sattvic, you should have rajasic. You should be doing karma. You should not be tamasic, right? So that's what in this shlok God is explaining, that any action is better than no action. So keep that in your mind all the time. So Krishna Bhagavan in this, just to narrow down the shlok here, is saying perform your allotted duty. So you guys know what your duty is, right? So perform your duty. So he said duty, then he says any action, any work is better than no action. So these are the two things God mentioned in this shlok, right? What? Perform your duty, and any action that you do is better than no action, right? Got it? Let's move on to the next one. So remember that God also mentioned earlier in the shlok, in I think 4th or 5th, that a person cannot live without doing action, right? You have to do action, otherwise your body will stop working in few days. So for even moving your body, you have to do action, right? People, if people don't stop walking for a couple days, their legs will not be able to walk for a little while. Yeah, if you lay down in the hospital for 2-3 days, the strength goes away from your legs. So even if you don't do any action, your body will not move. So action is important to just even you're living your daily life. So that's I think God mentioned that in couple shloks ahead. Okay, you ready, Nanu?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go to the 9th shlok of chapter 3. You guys open your book. Ready? Okay.
Yamnatat karmano nyanta.
Yajnarthat karmano yantra
Loko yam karma bandhana.
lokoyam karma bandhana
Tadartam karma konteya.
tadartam karma konteya
Mukta sangha samachara.
mukta sangha samachara. Okay, we do together. Yajnarthat karmano yantra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartha karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. So the world is in bond by action other than sacrifice, O Arjun, being free from attachment. Right? That's the meaning of the shlok. Now, it's a little bit explanatory verse. You need to understand what he's talking about other than sacrifice, right? So think about that. When we talk about karma, let's start with good and bad karma, right? So there are kind of two karmas which we say, good karma and bad karma, right? So let's take the bad karma. Bad karma is done when there is no morality, there is no ethics. People just want to grab everything, grab the possession that they get, even getting monetary possession from somebody else's money, grabbing those money, somebody else's money, and taking it to us. All these things give bad karma, right? Those are bad karmas. Now, if you see that the bad karma is bad for society, right? First of all, it's bad for society, bad for others, and it's even bad for us too. And how it is bad for us? One thing is that these bad karma generates or creates tendencies and sanskara, right? Our sanskara and tendency are created by these bad karmas. So you do bad karmas, these tendency that comes in us are not right? The sanskar that we get is bad. And then these sanskar and this tendency keep going birth after birth. It doesn't finish by this birth. right? It's not that our tendency dies here. It goes from this birth to next birth also. So tendencies we keep carrying over to the next birth, to the next birth. So bad karma will create bad tendency, bad sanskara, and that will keep going with us long time. Let's take an example of addiction, right? If you have an addiction, what happens? It's bad for sansar, right? It's bad for the community around, people around you. It's bad for them too, and also it's bad for yourself also, because you get into this addiction and you are going through this whole pain and suffering, right, with doing this addiction. Now another thing is, bad karma will give bad result. It will never, it's not sure that it will come in this life or next life, but bad karma will give you results, right? The bad results. So that's the bad karma, right? Now let's move on to good karma, right? What happened? Good karma, it's done with morality, it's done with the righteousness. You are doing right things. So then what happens is, it's going to give you the good karmas, right? And then the good tendency are formed, good you get good sanskara, you keep taking that life to life. So good karma is always beneficial for you to take it, right? Now the bad karma is abstraction or obstacle for our spiritual life, right? That's for sure. It's not a rocket science on that. We know if we do bad karma, we will never become a spiritually developed. We will not. Good karma also are obstacle in our spiritual life, right? Vivekananda Swami said that if the chain is made up of gold, it's still a chain, right? It still binds you to the world. Good karma will also bind you to the world, and bad karma will always bind you to the world too. So think about it, when God is saying that, when we say that, oh, you should not have a sattvic karma also bound you to the self. But we have to do good karma, right, to move on. Now this good karma we will have to do with devotion to God. So bad karma is already excused out. No matter if you do bad karma with devotion to God, it will not help you, right? But good karma that you are doing for good reasons, but then we devote that to God, that's what it is taking you outside this gold chain, right? Gold bounding. That doesn't bound you to the samsara. Even if you do good karma, you are still bound to samsara, right? You are still bound to do these good actions. But when you do devotion with the devotion to God, these karma, then it becomes karma yoga, and that it takes you, it doesn't bound you to samsara, to the world. Now what you could, there is, how can we do that? It's very easy to say, do all the karma and devote it to God, and that's it, that's the path. But to do that, it's very hard, right? You guys all gave me one example how you can change your daily karma to karma yoga, right? You all speak about it a couple weeks ago. Is it that easy to do it? How easy it was to speak about it? No, right? Can Sean make any basket that he's gonna make? Would he say, oh, I'm devoting this to God, and this basket goes to God? No. He will not, right? He will not say, oh, I'm going to play outside with my friends, I'm going to devote this play to God. It's saying is easy, it's doing is very hard, right? So how can we make it happen? How can we do it, right? So God is explaining here what? Sacrifice. Why did he say about sacrifice other than sacrifice? You have seen that we all do puja in the morning, right? Your parents do puja in the morning. And some of them, shower the god and make them wear good clothes, new clothes, and then put the diya and put some prasad and put the puja, do the puja, say some mantra, and that's how they do morning puja or evening puja, right? In those days, we are talking about Krishna Bhagwan's days, right? 5,000 years ago. What they used to do, the daily puja was full puja with yagna and everything, right? Yagna means you know that they, and I don't know if you guys had seen how people do yagna, is usually there is a square kind of pot that has fire coming out of it, and then you know you do ahuti in it, right? You sacrifice some things in the agni. In the agni means in the fire. So on those days, people were doing those pujas regularly. That was their ritual. That was their routine to do those kind of pujas. Now what we do right now is little bit, you know, smaller version of that big puja that people used to do in those days. Either they used to do it or they used to call Pandit in their house, and the Pandit used to do it on behalf of them. So the Pandit was the agent for doing those puja, right? So God is saying other than sacrifice, means other than these pujas, right? So what it is saying, that don't get bound to these karmas that you are doing every day, right? All these action, the world action that you are bound, other than sacrifice means other than this puja. O Arjun, being free from the attachment, right? From the samsara. So now think about it, how can we do it? There are two concepts in this. When we do any work, there is any work that we do, the one is the person who does the work, right? The karta, person who performs. The person who performs the work. That is karta. So that's the one concept, the person who performs the action. The second is results from the action. Keep that in mind while I'm explaining to you this thing, right? So these two things, these two aspects of the karma, there is two things are involved. One, the person who is doing the action. The second, that there are results coming out of those actions, right? So now when we do puja, right? When we do puja or worship, what happens at the end of the worship? There is some food that we devoted to God, right? God is always on diet. He doesn't eat much out of that food, right? We get it back, right? So when we get those food back, we take it as, what do we say the name of that thing that is given back from?
Prashad.
Yeah, Sanat?
Prashad.
Prashad, right? So we take that prashad back, and then we feel like it's God's food and we eat it, right? And we distribute it in everybody, and everybody eats that prashad, right? Now when it is prashad, right, I'm just giving an example. Sanay loves grapes, right? Sanay loves to eat grapes and he hates to eat apple. But the prashad is apple. Will Sanay eat apple or not? If it is given to if it is given to Sanay that this is the prashad, will Sanay take apple?
He should, but he won't.
No, let Sanay answer the question. Let's see. Sanay, would you eat apple if it is if you don't like apple? Would you eat apple if it is Bhagwan's prashad?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Nobody will say no if it is Bhagwan's prashad. Even if you don't like it, you will eat it. Why?
Because it's prashad.
Because it's prashad. It is given from, we gave it to him, right? Did God made his own food?
No.
No, right? We made something. We gave it to God and we said now it is prashad, right? So even like you don't like it, your mom and dad will say, no, this is prashad, you have to eat it, right? How would you do it? You still eat it, right? You will not say no. Now think about this. We are doing this with food only, right? Because we gave food to Bhagwanji. Bhagwanji didn't eat much. He gave it back. There is a leftover from Bhagwanji food. We take it as, oh my God, this is really good. Let me have it because it's food that God ate, right? That's the mindset we get from us, right? Now, why only for food? We can give him whatever you have. Like if I get some money, I will give it to God and then use it. I have new clothes, I will give it to God and then use it. Then it becomes God money and God's clothes, God's everything, right? Why only food? We can do all these things, other things too, right? All the action that we do, we give it to God and then take the results at God's results. Then there is no question asked, no, you will not say no, why the results were so bad. Because
God wanted you to fail.
right? God wanted those results. God, you did the action, you devoted the action to God, then whatever result comes, it's God's prasad. Right? So think about it. It's a very big concept, and very easy to do it. When we talk about Karma Yoga, this how to change your mindset, this will help you to change your mindset. How can you do it? Because everything which when we give it to God and we take it back from God, it becomes God's thing and we respect it. Even if we like it or not like it, we will have it. So why can't we do with everything else? We can do that everything else. But God gave us this situation where we are in terrible situation, right? But we devote that situation to God and then take it. Then what complaint in it? There is no complaint, because what happens is, now this is prasad from God, right? I am born in this family. Oh God, why did you make me born in this family? God, it was God's decision. Then what happened is, you have no complaint because it's prasad, right? How easy it becomes to devote all your karma to God, isn't it? If you have this prasad mindset, that all the things that are coming to you is by God, then there is no complaint, there is no problem, there is no tears, there is no suffering, there is no problems with any situation that you are in. You will be happy, right? So that's where God is saying that, bring that. God did not say in this shlok, but we have to understand what he's trying to say when he's saying that don't think about the sacrifices that you do, like the puja that you do. So you have to think about it this way, that how we can change our all the actions with the devotion, with the mindset of prasad, prasad mindset, prasad buddhi. We say that intellect become prasad buddhi, right? If we think about it. Now I mentioned about the cloth. When new cloth comes in, give it to God and say, hey God, thank you for giving me this cloth, I'm wearing it, right? Then it becomes the cloth given by God to you, right? As prasad, as food was given back to you, right? Is God's food. When anything given back to you is God's thing, right? We used to do that. All our money, salary, my mom, dad used to do it. Give all the salary, monthly salary that comes from their job. They give it. At that time, we used to get it in cash, right? My parents used to get it in cash. There was no bank account or nothing. So when it used to come, they used to put it in front of God and say, God, this is your money. And then take it out. Then what happens? That money becomes money given from God, devoted to God. So that becomes prasad. Now, would you spend that money in bad things? Because it's God's money. You would not, right? You spend it in good things, good reasons, right? You do your kartavya karma, means what's your duty is there, and then second thing, you do it for welfare of others. How simple the life will become, right? So that's how you should be thinking about prasad buddhi. Whatever comes out, that's God's wish and that's God's prasad, and we move on with that, right? As Sunny will eat apple, even if he doesn't like it, because it's God's prasad, we will do everything because it's God's prasad. We will take everything easily because it was all God's prasad. Got it? Okay. We will close here and we will start from number 10 next. Next week. Next week. I think I'm going to India for a couple weeks, so I will keep you updated if I will be able to do the class from there or not. But keep checking. I will send messages to your mom saying whether there is a class next week or not. Okay? But right now I can't do a class if it's possible. I would love to do the class if it is possible, right? If the time matches and everything. So we can have a class next week. Okay? वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. श्री कृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु. Okay.